the Veda Gurukulam this morning and heard the students speak. I was very thrilled that they had done not just the assignment, but they had understood the purpose behind the assignment. And also, they went about doing research to substantiate each of the verses or the mantras by bringing the references from different textbooks of Sanatana Dharma to prove that everyone is born equal. We become different as per our aptitudes and what we do. So I want to convey again in front of the entire audience and all those who are watching special blessings to the Veda Gurukulam Vatus and their acharyas who are doing a fantastic job. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmani Gavi Hastini Shunischaiva Shvapakecha Pandita Samadarshinaha. What is the lakshana? What are the qualities of a pandita? The real man of wisdom is samadarshana. He should see everything as equal. Brahmana or Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra, Shuni means animals, Gavi, Hastini or Shvapake, even those who eat these animals, in the sense those who live by such ulterior means, also everybody should be treated equal in Sanatana Dharma. Look at the loftiness of the ideals of Sanatana Dharma. And from the beginning, this was called Varna, Varnashrama Dharma. It was Varna means a type, a different type or a class. It is not caste. It is a class or a type. There are different types of flowers, fruits, different types of food items, different types of trees. Like that, there are different types of human beings based on their aptitudes. Guna karma vibhagasha, he says, based on their guna dharma. And that's how they have been classified. And this whole narrative about whatever the caste system and things like that is much recent. It wasn't as old as Sanatana Dharma. When it began, it was different. The way we looked at things was different. So that's what I wanted our Veda Gurukulam Vatus to get it right. Because I don't want them to grow up as some arrogant, superior or holier than thou kinds of Brahmins. They should have, of course, the orthodoxy or the ritualistic seriousness that they must have for performing whatever is required to be done by them without compromising or without diluting the essence of it. But more importantly, despite whatever they do, they should treat everybody with equality, equanimity. If that they don't learn, then their education is not complete. This is why I quoted and told them from Mundakopanishad, Dve Vidye Veditavya, it is said. Two kinds of education you must learn. Paracha eva paracha. Apara, the lower kind of knowledge, and para, the higher kind of knowledge. And even in those days, between so-called the educated class of Brahmins, apara vidya was just the knowledge of ritualistic worships. All the karmakandas and upasanaka was para vidya. Yat tad aksharam adhigamyate, that which takes you to the highest indestructible self. That alone is higher knowledge. All other knowledges are lower knowledge only. And that understanding these children should develop, because I have seen the side effects of being too much of a pandita. And they are they have some sense of superiority and they treat everybody as lesser beings. I do not want our Veda Gurukulam people to learn it the wrong way. We must treat everybody with respect. We must treat everybody as Brahman only, because you only said everything is Brahman. All are born equal in God. After that, their behaviors are different based on their guna karmas or guna dharmas. So it is that should not be the reason for us to treat some people badly or as lesser beings. And this understanding they must develop. Second thing, what I wanted our Veda Gurukulam students to learn is not just be karmakhandis, just ritualistic worship people, or just the people who are well versed in the Vedic literature. They also should understand science. Because a lot of spirituality is very scientific. But because these people, the Vedic Pandits, don't get access to the scientific side of things, they are unable to explain why Sanatana Dharma is so very scientific. To the next generation, which is a very questioning kinds, especially I see in our schools, and I tell our Pradhana Palakas also. See, this generation of millennials and Gen Z and Gen Alpha and all are very different from the old ones. old ones accepted things just out of respect, without questioning, without arguing. But the next generation needs to know it logically, scientifically, only then they accept. Our school children are the example. They're giving very tough time to their teachers. They don't leave them easy. Kaka chesta. They'll bother them till they understand, otherwise they don't accept it. So the generation has changed. Therefore, the teaching methodologies must change. And what applies to science must also apply to spirituality. The Vedic Vatus also should learn science so that they can explain the commonality between our spiritual knowledge and the scientific knowledge that is available today. And that is how they will be able to convince the next generation about the importance of Sanatana Dharma and our Indic knowledge systems, which have been there for thousands of years. It has done so much good to the world. It's a different matter that today we have lost that little connection between our past and present, and we are unable to establish the continuity of our knowledge systems. But if we do a little more research, that is why we tied up with a research under Dr. Sampath, that how do we study the Indian knowledge system and establish our history with the perspective of our Sanatana Dharma. So all these children stand to benefit from all these initiatives from the university as well as our institutions. And when I told that they have to learn English, most of them did not know how to speak English. They would make mistakes. So we made an assignment for them that every time I come to Veda Pathshala, they have to speak a little bit about some shloka or some topic on Veda, but they should speak in English, not in Sanskritam. And all of them have picked up, and some teachers who are working to teach them science are much better off than most of the other children, because they're learning Vedas on one side and also the NIOS curriculum on the other side. And that's how Vedic Pathshala should run. And this is how, that was the visions of starting a Veda Gurukulam. In fact, when I went to Sringeri Sharada Peetham to meet the Jagat Guru then, and I told Bharati Mahaswamiji that you please bless that this Veda Pathshala we are starting. He asked, what is that reason you are starting the Veda Pathshala? I said, we want to do a different kind of Veda Pathshala where students learn both the Vedic sciences as well as the modern sciences. Then he was very curious. He asked, how are you going to do that? Then I explained to him that we will teach them half day, they will learn Vedas from morning till afternoon, and then afternoon to evening, they will study other subjects. And he asked me, what is the reason of introducing this? Then I explained to him that I want them to be very logical and scientific in their attitude. Second, they should know English language and communication so that whenever they travel abroad, they are able to explain our Sanatana Dharma by using right kind of language and also a high quality language, so that the others also appreciate and understand the importance of what they are learning. He was very impressed. And Bharati Tirth Mahaswamiji told me, this is very unique. And he told him, I have a blessing with all my heart that this should do well. But he also warned me, please do not deviate from the original Vedic path in the name of scientific progress. I said, no, we will not. We will take students as per the Sampradayam, and whatever other rules are there of Veda Pathshala traditionally, we won't compromise on that. And that is when I also remember when next time I requested him to come here, but of course he said, I am not traveling anymore, I have retired now, and he had passed on the baton to the next Mahaswamiji, Vidushekara Mahabharati Swamiji, and he came here. In the history of 1200 years of Sringeri Sharada Peetham, none of the Jagat Guru has stepped into any other mata or ashrama other than what is under Sringeri Sharada Peetham or any other regular traditional temples. First time the Jagat Guru stepped out and came here to bless the Veda Pathshala, he took a promise from me that he will not dilute it by changing the selection pattern. And I keep them apprised of what we are doing. I like Sringeri Sharada Peetham is because that's where Adi Shankara got this vision that he must establish these matas, and from there this his disciple, he placed him there, Sureshwara, and from there the beginning of Advaita, whatever the establishment of Advaita Siddhanta began. Vedanta started getting propagated, and the whole world benefited from this beautiful idea of Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, Jivo Brahma Ivanapara. What an equality, idea of equality. Today everybody is talking about equality, inclusivity and all kinds of things. But these ideas were not new to us. Today these are all mandated by whatever United Nations or all kinds of bodies, world agencies. Diversity, inclusivity, equality, all these are buzzwords. But these were there right in the beginning in our very Sanatana Dharma. Samadarshanaha, all are equal. Brahma Satyam Jagad Mithya Jiva Brahma Ivanapara. Jiva itself is Brahma. Where is the question of Kshatriya, Shudra, Vaishya, all that is later. First thing is if you are a Jiva, you have a Jiva, then you are a Brahma only, Brahman only. What lofty ideals of Sanatana Dharma, you tell me. Today what the world needs in terms of moral values and principles, they were all there. And not just there in text, they were there as practice on a daily basis. And nobody lived a life of narrow-mindedness, selfishness like people do today. They were all selfless because Paropakara was the way of life everywhere. And all these wonderful ideas, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha, look at the universality of Sanatana Dharma. It leaves no one behind. It takes everybody along. And it treats, Sukha Dukkha Samekrutva Labha, Labha Ujaya, Ajayo, all are equal. In situations of life also should be treated equally. Samashatraucha Mitrecha. Your enemies and friends also should be treated equal. Tell me where on earth you have ever heard of such lofty ideals of human or moral values for a better society, better humanity? Nowhere. The first and foremost scriptures that ever spoke of such wonderful things were the scriptures of Sanatana Dharma, whether it was from Vedas or Prasthanatrayas or even recent times or the Itihasas, everywhere. Based on time, place and situation, some modifications have happened, which happens to every institution. Has science not changed over a period? There were flat earth propagators at some point in time. I remember reading somewhere that how Galileo said that earth is not flat and the church thought earth was flat. India said Bhugola, earth was Gola, means sphere, spherical. You see this? Is there on top? That avataram is there, no? Varaha avatara. Kurmalla, Varaha. Is there? Earth is there on his snout? Illa. I think I have to ask the artist to put that earth back. So, in the very depiction of Varaha Avatara, it says that he pulled the earth out of whatever liquid. I think it was some kind of a. That Hiranyaksha was there, when Rakshasa was there. He was trying to take earth and collapse it into Mars, I believe. And that's how Varaha saved it, the earth. Whatever, stories apart. The idea was that they knew there is a spherical nature to earth. It's not flat, imagine. In those days, they told this, I don't know how many thousands of years ago. And in 1600s, Galileo or whoever got punished for saying it the other way around. Imagine the depth and the universality and the truth of Sanatana Dharma. Somebody has to go and speak about it in the language that they understand. That is most important. If you speak in Sanskrit, not going to work. And all the translations of our scriptures by these German scholars from Max Muller onwards are very, very poor, job done of the real translation. Word-to-word translations mean nothing. Every word in Sanatana Dharma is very deep. Brahmana, one caste, upper caste, intellectual class. No. He said, Brahma Janati. Yeah, unless he knows Brahman, he cannot be a Brahmana. Look at, now you go and tell this to some German or some other person to translate. What will he tell? So our depth of scriptures is so deep, and only somebody who is well versed in those scriptures, also understand modern scientific language, can do justice in promoting and propagating Sanatana Dharma. Look at Sri Adi Shankaracharya. He knew Sanskritam. He spoke in Sanskritam. He kind of clarified many scriptures of Sanatana Dharma through bhashyas. Because so many of these are like very potent, very concentrated doses of wisdom. One verse carries so much in it. You can write a book on one verse. Just now, whatever they chanted, somebody can write a 500-page book on this if they just want to explain this sloka in the truest sense with all the historical facts and various other ideas. So they were so deep, and that is why Adi Shankara was given the job of making it understandable for the common people. Otherwise, they were misunderstanding it. That's worse. And that is what Adi Shankara did, but that he did in Sanskritam. Then came the next big propagator of Sanatana Dharma, I would think, is Swami Vivekananda. He was an English educated lawyer, and he knew how to speak to make the world listen. And he used his oratory skills and diction and language skills to go out of the country on behest of his master, Sri Ramakrishna Paramsa, who was illiterate. He couldn't have done that. So he sent his emissary Vivekananda and told, talk about Sanatana Dharma to the whole world, to Hindu Dharma to the whole world. Because we were under a colonial rule, we were looked down upon as a slave country. And all our glory of the past was, mixed with dust. That is the time when he rose and roared like a lion in the language that they understand, and made them understand what is the depth and beauty and glory of Hinduism, Sanatana Dharma. It was Vivekananda's great contribution. Now in today's, after that of course many took to that path and many spread this word. But today, I want see, Swami Vivekananda was not a Vedic scholar. Though he studied Upanishads and Vedas on his own, it wasn't the same as having learned the same knowledge in a Vedic Gurukulam. It wouldn't be the same. But these people can quote, as they did, they referred various textbooks from Mahabharata to Bhagavad Gita, and I don't know, Manusmriti and other places, and they brought this essence from various saying. This is there in several places in Sanatana Dharma textbooks. But this kind of understanding will come only if they have studied the Sanatana Dharma scriptures. But that they can't study outside. They have to be a part of the Veda Gurukulam. And they also should understand the ritualistic worship, what is the essence, what is the purpose. At the same time, they should also understand the modern science and modern languages, so that they can explain this in a better way to the next generation. And this is the contribution that this Veda Gurukulam can make to the world. And I'm already seeing the signs of its success in small way. These green shoots are already visible to me. This is just in 3 years. This is the 3rd year actually. And already students are doing quite well. So first time I think we are going to go to Malaysia. There is a ashram, as Narsimurji said. It already ashram is there, but there is a Ganesha temple which is being consecrated. And I told that Prana Pratishtha can be done by our acharyas and our vatus. A few of them I will take, all of them not this time. Next time I will take some of you to another country. Then next time to another country, like that. So different countries. Imagine where the Gurukulam vatus having passports, visas and plane tickets and traveling with their... See, this is how we will spread this word of God. This is the way it should be done. It should be done, the relevance of it in the modern times should be explained to the people. Just quoting left, right, center and showing Pandityam is no use. People may not understand, they may not question, they may not appreciate also then. But to the next generation, it has to be taught the way they understand. That's why it's important that you understand that. Also you should understand the reason behind every ritual. Anything that is made to do, you are made to do even in Karma Kanda, you must ask, why this Yajna Vedika like this? Why we have to put ghee? Why we have to put all these other various items? Why different gods have different items to be offered? You should question your acharyas. Kaka cheshta. Eat them up till they tell you the reason behind all these things. Because when you go abroad, people will question. Why you have to sit in this direction only? Why we can't sit another direction? Why we have to use right hand only? Why I can't use left hand? Especially Westerners, everything goes with the left hand there. So then all these questions you have to answer. What happens, what is the energy that you're using, ida, pingala, right, left, all these are important for you to understand. If you don't understand all these, then you cannot explain to the people. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಎಲ್ಲ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಏಕೆಂದರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿದ ಮೇಲೆ ಮಲೇಷ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರು ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಹೀಗೆ ಯಾಕೆ, ಹಾಗೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು, ಹಿಂಗೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಬೇರೆ ಥರ ಯಾಕೆ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು, ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ನೀವು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೈನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. If you don't explain to them properly, then they will say, oh, these are again one of those bunch of superstitious, some fellows from India, and simply they'll do something. Nobody will respect us then. Scientifically, you should be able to explain. There is a science behind why we do a certain ritual. How devatas are paroksha, swarupas, and then we have to, when we offer, how matter converts into energy, reaches them. Mantra is like their particular addressing that devata, and all these things. All these wonderful things has to be taught properly to our vatus. But I'm very happy that they are already learning so much and they are the hope for the future. While this is happening on this side, also on the school side, we are teaching some basics of Vedas and Upanishads, which is necessary for them. As I said, there are two eyes. You should have equal vision. Samadarshana means both eyes should see equally, 2020. That is required, then you have to have material knowledge and also spiritual knowledge. So these children are also learning. But what is disappointing for me with our school and college system is that they have become parrots. They all remember shlokas, they can rattle it out in one breath. But when I ask them whether they are practicing, I found that missing. They're not practicing paravidya, whatever they're learning. What is the point in believing everything is equal, samadarshana, if you don't treat equal each other with love and respect? Then what is the point in learning? If you think that these truths are to be practiced, only then it's going to make sense. So all our staff, students, they should practice these truths. Not just remember and memorize it. A lot of Pandits have memorized it, they don't mean anything. It doesn't, is of no use to anybody today. Even tape recorders can play mantras. You shouldn't become one of them. I want to see that in practice. In basic life, when I say Shreyascha Prayascha, you should know this is Shreyo Marga, this is Preyo Marga, and I need to do this which is right over what is pleasant and easy. And this you should do every day, from waking up late, you should, the moment you feel lazy, oh, I want to sleep a little more, then you should, now Shreyascha Prayascha, the shloka should run in your head. I must do the right thing, I must do the right thing, I should not do the wrong thing. This should guide you all the time, in every little aspect. You may not do all those big homas, yajnas yourself. But even in small things of life, yajnat karma samudbhava, all actions are yajna. If you do everything as a yajna, then why you should not do it right? Why should there be any slackness, or why should there be any casual approach to doing things? They are so particular about the yajna, you should see. These many types of samagri is required, that many types they have to have, they won't compromise on that. Because that is a proper yajna. But all actions are yajna. What yajna can you do? Your actions are your yajna, that is offering to God. Yad karoshi, yadashnashi, yad jahoshi, dadasi, yad tapasyasya kaunteya, tad kurushva madarpanam. You are doing everything for God's sake. So how is it that you are walking, talking, speaking, sleeping, eating, whatever you are doing is not a yajna? And if it is yajna, why it should not be done properly? Because if you do it wrongly, then you incur sin. So everything should be treated like that. So that is the effect of paravidya in your aparavidya schedule. But is that happening? The question you have to ask yourself. Well, then there won't be scope for indiscipline, there won't be any scope for slackness or any way of ulterior or lower way of doing things. Everything will become perfect. Yoga karmasu kaushalam will happen only when you think every karma is a yajna that you are performing. Look at how dedicatedly they perform. I watch, I have been to many countries. It broke my heart. In one of the countries I went, that fellow is a Pandit somewhere from India. They have got a visa and they settled down somewhere in the US or some country abroad. And I'm watching what rituals he's doing, what mantra he's chanting. He doesn't know, I don't look like a Vedic Pandit, so he thinks that I don't know much about this ritual. He's simply saying the same mantra, again and again for everything. He doesn't know any other mantra. After some time, I realized that he doesn't even know all the upacharas also. Something and all he was talking. I felt so terrible, and all these Papam Westerners were so devoted, they were all folding their hands, sitting, thinking some great Mahayajnam is going on, some great Vedic scholar has descended from India, and he's going to redeem the whole place. But I realized he's all doing it wrong. Just all the dressing and all was correct, but the rituals were not correct. It was not perfect. And I knew it, and that's why this time I decided I will take our acharyas only to whichever country I go, let them only do the homa, yajna, whatever is being performed for every ashram. It is important. And chanting this swara shuddhi, okay, you do a Tamil ritual based on Tamil Paddhatis, Okay, that's fine. But you're doing a ritual based on the Vedic Paddhati, then it has to be the way it should be. Then I go to North India. Oh, that is even horrible. I was telling one day, I was there with some very important person, and he said that I have to get some these samskaras done for my child. They are all Brahmins from UP. But he told in whole of Delhi, I'm searching for a good pujari or purohit who to come and do this properly, and they are not finding any. That in the whole of Delhi region, I don't get a decent thing. He told, I cannot even take a sankalpa like Rudra Homas or things like that, because to find these many people, I have to import them all from South India. Because there are no scholars available. Dime a dozen in Varanasi and Gaya or whatever, Haridwar and Rishikesh, but none of them know things thoroughly. All hodgepodge knowledge. This is where our Sanatana Dharma is going down, because anybody calls them and questions them about one ritual, they have no answer. Simply they will show big eyes and say, keep quiet, don't disturb, and that's what poor the bhakta will get scared and won't ask questions. And they're thriving. In the Hindi they say, "Kya andho mein kana raja." One-eyed man becomes the king in the country of all blind people. This is what is happening to our Vedic Samskriti. It really hurts me when I see this. And that is why I want to set it right. But set it right in the proper way, where science meets spirituality in these students. And when they talk about it, they explain the reason. They can explain it in the scientific language and the terms that the modern world can understand. And today, mind you, 10, 15 years down the line, as quantum, whatever, related to quantum mechanics, all these things start getting more and more researched, you will come to know how science is actually now slowly merging into spirituality. What is this quantum theory after all? This unified field theory. It is about this Samadarshana. It is about Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. It is the same thing. Ekatvam Anupashyataha. It is oneness. Slowly they are coming to that. But they are coming from the other end. We started from this end and went to that end. They are starting from the other end and coming to this end. And somewhere in between both will meet. And that time is coming in the future. That time this knowledge that you are carrying of Vedas will also be a very, very big use to the world. So it's not without a reason that we are doing what we are doing. May you all prosper in this study of Vedas and the modern science. May you learn with all Shraddha. In both science also Shraddha and spirituality also Shraddha. This applies to the students here also, whose majority of time goes in studying material knowledge, but they also get some time for spiritual knowledge. And above all, this should become your way of life. Sanatana Dharma is not a religion. It is a way of life. How we live is Sanatana Dharma. And that idea should get into everybody's character, personality. You should be moving, talking, walking, temples of Sanatana Dharma, each of us. That is when it will be truly glorifying this great heritage of Sanatana Dharma, and we will be deserving of this blessing that we have got of being born in Bharata and being inheritors of this great Vedic Samskriti. Only then. Otherwise, we are just undeserving. Just now you saw I am sitting here and these 4 birds are fighting right in front of me. Do they care who I am? What is my role? What is my personality all about? They are busy with their fights. This is what has happened to our Indians. Sitting next to the very embodiment of all Vedic knowledge, we fight like petty animals. We don't understand anything. This is the Andhakara, from where Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya has to happen. You people have to lead the way. Also today we have some dignitaries from Sri Mata Suttur who have been sent by the Swamiji, and I welcome them also to our ashram. Namaskar. They brought a message from Mahaswamiji to invite us for a function of his Guruji, which is on 25th of August. They run several institutions of public service, and this was the idea of Swamiji to turn spirituality into service, which should be of use to the society. So through selfless service as their motto, they're running educational institutions, lot of student hostels for poor children without charges. They have a lot of hospitals, both Ayurvedic as well as allopathy hospitals. They have several other research and other institutions, even in agriculture and our Indian sciences. I'm very glad to have them here, and it was my wish to once visit and see what you do and learn from them also, and somehow now the time has come, invitation has come. I will definitely come on 25th to attend your Swamiji's 109th celebrations. Thank you. And please convey our best regards to everybody at the Matam and all the people there at your ashram also. Very happy.